Good morning, everyone. This is Will here at 5 Minute Digital Recording Tips. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I want to look at some reverbs. Now, the problem oftentimes I hear on, we'll say, home recordings and the like, is that people don't really understand how to utilize a reverb for a specific purpose. So, for instance, they'll have a vocal, we'll say, or a drum loop or a guitar track, and they'll just stick a reverb on it and hope that it sort of kind of covers all the bases, which really is not the way to go about doing this. What you need to do is you need to pick the reverb for a specific task. Now, a reverb can do 5 or 6 different things. It can change the tone of an instrument. It can increase the size of an instrument. It can help the instrument to blend into the, we'll say, the overall, what I would call ambience of the track. Now, today we're going to look at that specifically, as in the ambience of the track, what I want to call the blend. So you would use the reverb specifically for one thing, to blend the track into the overall piece of music. I.e., we'll say, take a drum loop. You want the drum loop to be up front in your face, or you want the drum loop to be pushed back into the background. And that's all you want it to do. You don't want it to increase the size of the drum loop. You don't want it to change the tone of the drum loop. It's just purely a device for getting the loop to sort of sit into the track. So so what I tend to do generally is I create several different aux tracks. Up here, we'll see, we'll get them going here now, and we'll have a look at them. So I've got an aux track here called blend reverb, and I've got another one here called size reverb. So this blend reverb, what I've done is I've created a waves IR preset, or reverb unit. And what you want to do when you're using the reverb as a blending device, all you want is the first, we'll say, up to maybe half a second of the reverb. So you don't really want to hear any of the tail. Okay, you just want to hear sort of the picture of the room that the instrument is kind of played in. Again, in sort of kind of home recording situations, oftentimes all the instruments are recorded separately or maybe in different places, and what you want to use the blend reverb for is to kind of create an overall sense of a unifying space. So here we have, I've just picked a little kind of a small room called the green room here. In this, this is a convolution reverb, and what I've done is here, this is really the only important what's the word I'm looking for? The only important setting that you need to really worry about is the reverb time, and you want to take it down, almost, well, certainly under half a second. Now you want to so you have here, so here's your track with your reverb, and it's coming in on your bus. I've created a bus here called blend reverb. Okay, so now I go to my individual tracks, and all I'll do is we've got this loop down here. Okay, all we're going to do is we're going to create an aux send here. Okay, so we on our one of our send tracks, we're going to send this loop to the blend reverb, and then we'll, in a sense, sort of create the space. So here we have this blend on a bus. It's sending on blend reverb right here. Okay, so right now it's muted. So let's have a listen to the drum loop just as it is. Okay. Okay, pretty basic. Now what I want to do is now I'm going to have this this send in a post fader, just because we don't want the well, how would I say it? We don't want the volume and so on of this drum loop to change the volume of the reverb if we're trying to balance things at a later date. So, but for now, I want to put it in pre, okay, just for a second, so that I can actually hear what this drum loop is going to sound like going through this blend reverb, okay, just so I can adjust the parameters of the actual reverb. So let's listen. Okay, so if I was to increase this time here, okay, so you hear all that tail. We don't want that. Okay, all we want is so it sort of sits right behind the actual loop. Okay, creating a sense of a space, and the reverb is sort of transparent. Okay, so now if we unmute this and we'll hear both of them together. Okay, and then if we bypass or if we mute the track, the blend reverb track up here, let's mute it. Okay, and we'll get this back on this. Now if we pull this down, it's smaller, more in our face, or further away. Okay, and then so you would use this blend then for you know, all your instruments. So let's see, I've got a couple of acoustic guitars down here, which let me just throw these in with it. Where are they? Right here. Okay, let's mute these for a second. Okay, I'm increasing the send of the loops. Now let's throw in these. Okay, so that's basically what you would use to create. Now, and then you'll say, okay, you want the lead vocal up front, so you would use less of the blend. You want the tambourine way in the back, so you would use more of the blend, and that's the only thing you would use this reverb for. Now then, in the next tutorial, I'll show you guys how to use another reverb to create to change the sort of the size of an instrument. Okay, so you want to make the lead guitar sound bigger. So once it's blended and everything, then you'll use a different reverb and just the tail. So you'll remove the kind of sort of the early part of the reverb and just purely use the tail for this. But we'll look at that in another tutorial. So this basically will give you a great tool on how to use a reverb in a very specific way. Hope it's been helpful. This has been Will here at 5-Minute Digital Recording Tips. Take it easy, everyone.